Welcome to Love Letters and Books, a podcast for anyone who loves a good story. This is a soft space to explore romance and books where no topic is too taboo. I'm your host, Casey, and today I wanted to sit down with you and share a love letter of my own. It's my birthday week after a pretty challenging year, and it's just brought so many thoughts and feelings to the surface. Now I say that, and I can almost picture myself pondering calmly at sunset and experiencing soft epiphanies. But mostly, this year's found me listening to music in bed and staring at the ceiling as I try to process all that has happened. And I find myself shuffling around all of these puzzle pieces, everything that happened this year, trying to create a landscape of a life that might pass for a cohesive final product. The puzzle pieces remain scattered, as if someone broke into my house, scooped them all up, tossed them in the air with a giggle, and then ran out of the room. And while that can feel deeply personal and unique, a bespoke experience tailored to the specifics of my head and heart, I know that it's pretty common to be at unexpected crossroads in life, overwhelmed, uncertain, maybe treading water, and not really knowing which direction will take you back to shore. But the one consistent thread woven throughout my life that has always offered me bits of surrender, comfort, and clarity has always been writing. So I thought I'd sit down today and record an episode that's also a bit of an ever-expanded love letter that I wrote to myself. I'm sharing it here for me, for you, and for anyone else who might need to hear or read this today. Keep all the promises you made to yourself this year. It's not too late. You are forever birthing, living, dying, and resurrecting. The end is just the beginning. Sometimes the thing that feels wrong, that stops your heart, that causes you to hold your breath, is not really wrong at all. It's unfortunate, it's difficult, it's unexpected, but it's also just the next right thing. The next indicated action, the next heartbeat and breath and step. And your resistance, no matter how delicious, empowering, and purposeful it may seem, is only delaying the inevitable. You will be okay. You are okay, even when everything is not okay. So let people see you, know you, and love you in your moments of imperfection. I know you've paid an unbelievably high price for that in the past, but we don't live there anymore. The home you've created for yourself allows for mess, failures, feelings, disappointments, and even disaster. It also allows for joy, miracles, softness, laughter, and love that you didn't know was possible. There are no slamming doors, no threats, no listening for footsteps, for changes in someone's breathing, or the turn of a doorknob. Your life is breakfast for dinner, brought to you in bed when you are sick. It's a cup of coffee, made for you every single morning, with commitment, consistency, and love. And it's surprising even now, even a decade in. But it's also a reminder of how hard it is to let in the good. And maybe that's the reminder we all need this year. To know that we deserve it, not because we've tried hard or because we've earned it or fought for it, but just because goodness can be a baseline for all of us. They never taught you this, but you are lucky enough to meet people along the way who show you proof of this with their consistent action. So remember that, even when it's hard. And remember that self-love, self-respect, and self-esteem are often misconstrued as declarations of war by those who benefited from you living without all three. Find others who speak the same language as you and speak it often. But also remember that you have everything you need within you to bring yourself to spaces where you are misunderstood and you can allow yourself to witness versus resist. Use these moments of discomfort to remind yourself that you don't have to be good, smart, helpful, or attractive to convince someone to treat you with respect and decency. If someone struggles to do so, that's a reflection of them, not a call to action for you. Surrender to the lessons about yourself and others, where the inevitable changes, disruptions, detours, blessings, wins, and losses, like a loose garment. Remember that there is not a single person on this planet who gets to determine your worth or your capacity. Surround yourself with people who reveal your potential instead of those who point out your limitations. You are not just a resource for others. You're not a background character, an extra on the set of their life, something for them to feed on, tap into, or connect with solely in moments of need. You are more than an emergency hotline, and your value exceeds what you can provide in a crisis. In fact, it's most often seen in moments of rest, relaxation, and kindness towards yourself. Remember that the only thing you can do for another person is to work on yourself, because we all learn by attraction, not promotion. Your work in this life is to discern and decide who or what it is that you most want to have a bigger experience with, even if it doesn't look like it matches you, even if it's disruptive, even if other people don't understand. It's up to you to show up for who and what you want in body, mind, and spirit. You'll see yourself and the world through a new pair of glasses when you realize that your work is to have a courageous and curious heart. Not to be certain, not to be contained, not to be controlled, but to stay open. Trust that it's okay to lose yourself and take the journey of finding yourself again. Life is tricky, so be gentle in your self-discovery. Say yes when you want to. Use the word no as a complete sentence. Know that you'll keep what you have by giving it away, and trust that you have to give it all away to even get it in the first place. So rest when tired, eat when hungry, and cry when you need to. Risk vulnerability in moments when you want to establish a true connection with yourself and others. Know that there is nothing more powerful than being seen and heard. Use your words and trust your intuition. Live well and love easy. I believe in you. You know, I said at the beginning that I was sharing that love letter for me as well as you, and I do hope it resonates. For me, I started this year in a panic, navigating health crises and losses, while the whole world seemed to be celebrating the new year, talking about resolutions, and embracing the promise of a clean slate and all the possibility. And at that time, I can admit that I'd never felt so out of alignment or so thoroughly forgotten by the universe. I spent the next few months trudging a path of survival that I'm sure so many of us know well. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. And we've all had moments in our lives where we've had to do that. We've had to just quietly make it through. Then, as my luck would have it this year, I had a terrible accident. And even months later, the back of my body was covered in cuts, burns, and some really horrific bruises that just wouldn't heal. And it's weird because I'd spent all of 2025 focused on healing what was going on inside my body. So it didn't even occur to me that the outside of my body was vulnerable until it was. And when it happened, it took my mind a minute to catch up to my body. And one of the few things that I remember in the moments immediately after my accident, before I passed out again, was the horrified look on the face of the person in front of me as I waved my arms and I declared in a high-pitched, almost manic voice that I'm fine. I'm totally fine. And you all know what it feels like when someone says they're fine in those moments. But it was a moment where my insides quite literally matched my outsides, and it was homeostasis at its finest. I was that drip of condensation, spontaneously appearing and clinging to the side of a glass of ice water on a hot summer afternoon. I honestly thought this year was going to be the best year of my life. I am so embarrassed to share that now, but I can say it out loud and laugh at myself with tenderness instead of judgment about the ignorance, the hubris, the absolute ridiculousness of that thought, because I have quite simply never been more wrong about anything in my life. I guess I thought I'd created this foolproof Venn diagram of surrender and acceptance and deprivation. I thought that because I asked for less out of life, that I would lose less, be hurt less, and feel less. I figured the worst that the universe could do to me at this point was sort of leave me with that self-satisfied white noise that plays at the end of a record before the needle lifts. Just nothingness. But no, the universe and my explosive brain had other plans for me this year. And I woke up this morning from one of those unpleasant recurring dreams that snag on your psyche like the loose thread of a sweater doing battle against a sharp nail or a splinter of wood, wondering if the last few years, or even just this one in particular, have simply been a fever dream. And with a tug on my heart and a mind trapped in amber, yet liberated from self-consciousness in a way that only repeated seizures and strokes can offer you, I whispered something I'd normally hesitate to say out loud. Am I living the life that I'm supposed to be living? What if this is simply me trapped between worlds, not quite here nor there, waking up every day, repeating the same tasks, carrying the burden of perseverating on these same thoughts and feelings that I just can't seem to shake, feeling like I'm simply a smile in a photograph from some long-forgotten sunny afternoon, a memory that remains in black and white when everything else has faded, a song you hum in the aisle of a supermarket on a late-night dash to grab coffee for the next morning, knowing that I have moments where I am so grateful for the life I have built that I don't even have words to express how lucky I feel. It's like I robbed a bank and then won the lottery. Then I have moments where I don't understand the burden placed on my body and, by default, my heart. And it can feel special, tragic, unique, but it's probably just the human experience. Now, breakdowns are said to be breakthroughs, but when you're in the middle of one, whether in body, mind, or spirit, that poetic take can feel like you're failing a test that everyone else is passing so very easily. It's lonely, it's exhausting, and unfortunately, it's probably happening right on time. I keep meeting sharp edges, and sometimes sharp energy and sharp words, when I desperately need time to heal my body and recuperate with some grace and a little understanding. And saying that out loud is hard because it makes me feel needy and clingy and resistant. Years like this make you see things differently. It's unwelcome, but it's probably necessary. And there's this bittersweet ache when I sit with the answers that break through the silence and I hesitate to share them out loud. But there's this powerful reminder, a hum underneath everything else, and it's telling me to be kind, gentle, and forgiving with myself, even when it's the last thing I want to do or the last thing I feel that I deserve, and it tells me to do it anyway, because I don't want to reflect back on this year and think it was wasted, to forget all the goodness, the sweetness, the kindness, the tenderness at moments when I felt more love than I even believe I deserve. This year was a reminder that I will forever be a child of the universe, laughing my way to truth at all times, even through tears, that I'm a map of jokes, secrets, dreams, dark humor. I'm a little bruised, sensitive, tender, but really no worse for the wear. A river coyote with an expansive aura, funny stories, and always embracing the paradox. Made up of stardust and comets, thunder and whimsy, some nightmares, a few daydreams, my dark little thoughts. Always saying, I don't mind what happens. Praying it, humming it, smirking through it, and really meaning it. Sometimes. In closing, I want to share that I started this podcast at the beginning of the year after so much behind the scenes planning, and I did it as a way to cheer myself up while I slowly recovered from these life-changing health issues. Reading was what helped me pass the time in waiting rooms, distracted me on long car rides to the hospital, and it kept me company when I didn't have words for the grief I was dealing with. It reminded me that I might have a better story ahead of me when this is all over and I have fully recovered. It also reminded me that I might have a better story in the middle of it when it feels like it's a storm and I just can't see it yet. Health crises are so isolating, and working full-time when your body is healing is absolutely exhausting. No longer feeling like yourself can be destabilizing, but this space has felt like an exhale, and I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to this episode of Love Letters and Books, a podcast for anyone who loves a good story. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to follow, rate, and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. You can find me on both Instagram and TikTok at Love Letters and Books. And if you are interested in being a guest on Love Letters and Books, suggesting your favorite author, or just want to write in an original love letter to yourself or someone else to be read on air, please send me an email at lovelettersandmixtapes@gmail.com.